When your team is struggling offensively, which they are, and when your team is struggling, period, what are you going to do? You're going to point fingers. And there is definitely going to be a stir up with this team by the end of the season. I'm going to tell you why, because Deebo Samuels knows this is his final year on the 49ers. Win or lose, make it to the playoffs or don't make it to playoffs, Deebo Samuel will not be back next year. Brandon Ayuk just got a long-term deal. They brought in a young kid in the first round the way they did, and they compare his skills to Deebo Samuel. You see what Jennings has done this year. He's been sensational. They have a tremendous amount of talent offensively. The question is Brock Purdy the guy? Now, only time will tell. And again, we can go back to the coaching and Kyle Shanahan. Is Kyle Shanahan going to be here moving forward? Maybe next year he will be. But if they fail again next year, does Kyle Shanahan come back? I do believe Kyle will be back. John Lynch has one more year left on his contract, so Lynch will be back. They will draft this coming year, but there's a lot of questions to where this team is. I do believe this team is getting older. Nick Bosa has not been healthy all season long. This defense obviously has not been fully healthy all season long. And the secondary has not been as good as it's been in the past. So Deebo Samuel, obviously, with a 6-7 record, if the team was opposite, if the team had 11 wins or 10 wins, we wouldn't be hearing for Deebo Samuel because they're winning. When you're losing, all these stories come out. That's the crazy thing about Philadelphia. They're winning and you're hearing things. That shouldn't be going on. That's the problem with coaching in the NFL when it comes to Nick Sirianni and Kyle Shanahan. I got to give Kyle Shanahan a lot of credit. Kyle Shanahan knows how to keep it in-house. Nick Sirianni, he doesn't know how to keep it out of his ass. Okay, so there's a huge difference between both coaches when it comes to taking control of the locker room. Deebo Samuel knows, again, going back to it, the guy can't stay healthy. He is starting to fall off a little bit. I still like Deebo Samuel. I think he can go to another team next year and be a piece, not a big piece, not the number one or number two piece. He could be a three-piece, a third piece to a team, depending on where it goes. If he went to the Lions, he'd be a perfect fit over there for the Lions. He can help St. Brown. He can help Williams. He can help develop these young kids. St. Brown doesn't need development, but Williams does. And it shows leadership when you bring a leader like that in, and they got the money to do it. But I think the problem right now is Brock Purdy would prefer to throw it to the guys that are open. And who's open right now? Juwan Jennings, he's open a lot. You see the tight ends. I mean, there are tight ends on a team I didn't even know they had that are getting open. So it's a different team now. The 49ers are starting to figure, hey, we got to go younger. We got to figure out who's going to be staying and who's not. And I believe Deebo Samuel is on his way out.
If you didn't think that way, or if it didn't show us that way, you wouldn't have deleted the tweet. You'd have just let it ride, and you'd have just understood that it's, doesn't matter if you delete it, somebody's going to see it, right? And like I tell my son, the internet's forever. Doesn't matter if you delete it or not. Don't care. That's not the truth. And, he comes back and, he then says, I'm not hating on any of my teammates, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, you're not directly calling anybody out, but you're indirectly calling out your organization and the fact that you're not getting the ball enough. And at the end of the day, what it is, you're supposed to win. And, obviously Owens 49ers are sucking right now. So, I mean, it's a little kick in the dick, but that's fine. I mean, that's just the way it goes. But then he goes, you read what you read, and this is via ESPN. And yeah, I'm a little frustrated. Well, yeah, I get you're frustrated, but there's ways to handle it where it doesn't need to be everybody's news. It could be your guys' news, and you guys figure it out between yourselves. That's it. Like, it ain't that hard. It's not that hard. It's easy to go up and be like, hey, you know what? I feel like, we can either run some new schemes, or I'm getting open and I'm not getting the ball enough. But you don't go to Twitter, man. You don't go to Twitter. Like, I get it. Emotions come into play, and it's, you don't want to do anything from offending a teammate or feel like you're attacking him. But there's 10,000 better ways to handle it. And it's just, then you delete it. It just kind of, kind of makes you look soft. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think this whole thing is fallout from the Super Bowl last year. You guys talk about him being done with the 49ers after this season. His career might be coming to a close in general. He's not as fast. He can't be as physical. Before this year, you always had Deebo Samuel as the best leader in the clubhouse. He was the one picking everybody up. He was the one that was getting in Aaron Donald's face saying, "Hey, we're going to beat you up and stick it to you." Like, he was the leader of that clubhouse or that locker room, whatever you want to call it. So I think losing last year is taking a hard toll on him. Then not having that great a year this year. The funny part about the tweet is Twitter came out and like fact checked him, and they're like, "Hey, you also lead the team in drops, so maybe figure that out." So that's probably why he deleted it, is because the Twitter AI came out and called him out. So he's had a rough year, getting into it with the kicker, not playing his best ball. I just hopefully tomorrow he goes off. He kind of goes off against the Rams, so he hates the Rams. So
he owns the Rams normally, I'll say.
that's what I'm saying. So I don't know what's exactly going on. Brock Purdy did come out and say, "Hey, look, I understand. We talk about it. We sit down for lunch every day," and he's right. He isn't getting the ball enough, so he handled it the right way. I just think Deebo is frustrated from being at 2 Super Bowls where they were ahead against the Chiefs and lost them both, and now his career is going to be coming to an end, and he's probably not going to get that ring he wants. So he's kind of taking it out on everybody because this is not usually him.
I mean, I wouldn't put like dirt on the man's grave. He's still a fantastic athlete. He seems to take plays off. I hate to say it. Like you watch him and he disappears more than most great players. He just doesn't seem to be in the game as engaged as he needs to be this year. Because when that guy's going well, it's like one of those guys that you can put anywhere on the field. They used to put him at running back. Remember the story was Speedy that he wanted more money because he was getting so many running back snaps that he should be getting paid as a running back and a receiver at the same time. Obviously, it didn't go his way on that one, but he's really,
or against the Jets trading for him at the time.
Yeah, please.
He's like the best version of a gadget receiver there is in the NFL, in my opinion. He just doesn't run the crispest routes, but if you can design a play, he's the guy you want to design it for. He makes it, because of that, he gets everyone else open. Kittle, being the amazing blocker that he is and pass catcher, helps out on the other seam. So when he's on the inside, they can play games with Kittle and him all day as long as they have a threat like Ayuk out there. They don't have that threat right now because of his injury. And I think teams are doubling down on Deebo because he can be a game breaker, and he's getting frustrated. Very much like our boy Stephon Diggs got frustrated with all the double coverage that he was getting on his way out from the Bills. And, and you saw what Diggs was before his injury this year. He was fine, but he wasn't that same player. So that's what I see for Deebo. But he's still, I wouldn't put dirt on the man's grave yet. Maybe he's still got some juice in there.